Hi Will, hi Kayla, this is George Sherritt. This is the front of the house. This will be on the front of my report. I also wanted to say I'm sorry about the confusion on my schedule. Had just a ton of people calling the last couple of days, and then people getting on my website to schedule things without calling me. So I got you scheduled for a time you didn't intend, but the good news is we've got your inspection done. So the driveway is cracked in several places. My cutoff for that being a tripping issue is about 3/4 of an inch, and these are taller than that. So you could have the edges ground down, you could have it removed and re-poured, or you could just live with it. There's one place on the left side of the garage where the siding is in contact with the ground. This was added on after the structure was built to house the sprinkler system risers that go out into the yard. So if possible, it would be good to rake the soil away from the wood so it doesn't rot it. This is the back deck. It overall was in really good condition. It's built on grade. We'll come back to the deck in a minute. This is the access cover to the crawl space under the house, and you can see it's open here so mice can come and go. There's a brand new vapor barrier under the house, so I didn't see any evidence of mice, but ideally this should be, a different cover. How can I explain that? This is a rain cover. So if you remove this and you saw the vertical wall with the opening, ideally you'd build a screen across there, a vertical screen that would block entrance under the house. So this is really just considered a rain cover. It's very hard to build an external rain cover like this tight enough to keep a mouse out. This gutter is not attached to the downspout. It's at the back right corner of the house. All my back right, left front instructions are as if you were standing out in the street looking at the house. That's where it is. This is the chimney for the fireplace. It was in good shape. The flashings around the chimney look good. It does have a rain cap and a spark arrestor, so that's good. This is one of the rubber plumbing boots up on the roof. They have started to crack. Ultraviolet light breaks them down, and eventually they just really decompose. This one's cracked, and the other one to the right of it's also cracked. They're not real bad, but at some point in the future those should be replaced so water can't get in the house. The gutters are pretty full with debris, so I'd recommend they be cleaned. The electrical panel in the garage has a label on it that says Sylvania, and Sylvania bought a company called Zinsco, and the only thing they changed was that label. All the components are Zinsco components, so they have a history of causing house fires and problems. So I'd strongly recommend you have a licensed electrician, replace the panel. This is the electric furnace. There's no current service tags, so I'd recommend it be serviced. This is in the attic, right above the garage. It's not a great picture. I think I took another one. Yes. Couple things. So these are coming from the fans, and they kind of go over here towards a soffit vent. And you can see this kind of chalky whiteness here. That's from moisture. The moisture from these fans doesn't magically go out that screen. Of course, it spreads out and goes into the attic here. So this can eventually cause damage to the plywood here. So these should be to dedicated sealed vents that go to the outside. And then also, because this is a metal pipe, and in the wintertime, if you're using that fan, you're trying to push really moisture-laden warm air through here, it's going to condense. And it can condense and run back down and damage the fan. If there's a low spot in the pipe, it can just form a puddle and then be like a petri dish and grow all kinds of things. So I'd recommend these be insulated and also to dedicated sealed vents. I wasn't able to access the entire attic. The only access hole is in the garage. And then what they did here, where the garage joins the side wall roof, they left some plywood open, but they have all these heat ducts in the way and really deep insulation. So potentially I'd fall through the ceiling if I walked out there. So I did look in the rest of the house for another entrance, but didn't find one. So I looked here with my flashlight as carefully as I could, everything I could see, but I wasn't physically able to get back all the way in there. This is the door between the house, or the laundry room, and the garage. It doesn't latch. It needs an adjustment. You can see the strike is lower than the center of the strike plate, so it closes, but it won't latch. So I'd recommend that be adjusted. When this house was built, smoke alarms were required in the hallways. Now we suggest one in every bedroom and every change of ceiling height. There's a carbon monoxide alarm in the hallway near the bedrooms, like it should be. That's required by state law. The little freestanding wood fireplace was in good shape. The bricks looked in good shape. The seal and everything, all the components look like they were relatively new. In the kitchen, the outlets aren't GFCI protected, which are the outlets with the little buttons on them, sometimes red and black, sometimes just one says test, one says reset. So it's an inexpensive piece of safety equipment. I'd recommend they be installed in the kitchen. This is under the kitchen cabinets, the sink here. All plumbing fittings are approved by a governing body that approves plumbing fittings. And then we have this, which is just kind of a homeowner Home Depot gizmo. Homeowners have a hard time getting things to line up correctly, and so they make this flexible drain pipe that's corrugated. It's very, very thin walled so that it can be flexible like that, and they tend to crack and leak. I ran a lot of water through this and it wasn't leaking today, but at some point if this fails, have a licensed plumber put a proper drain here for you. The outlets in the bathrooms are protected with GFCI, and they're protected with a breaker that's in the panel. So if the panel gets replaced, you either want to have them put a GFCI breaker in there to duplicate what's there now, or replace these outlets in the bathroom with GFCI outlets so they continue to be protected. Here's the breaker in the panel. This is the test button. It controls the outlets in the bathroom, like I said, and also the outlets in the garage. Back to the deck. The back stairs are sitting in the dirt. Anytime you put wood in contact with the ground, it's going to shorten its life. So I'd recommend removing the soil around the stairs and maybe putting some little concrete pads similar to these underneath the wood to allow air to get through there. And then the deck's been built on grade, which means some of the components are actually sitting in the dirt, like this beam here. You know, if there's any way to separate earth from wood contact, it's always recommended, but it's not always possible. This is under the house. This is one of the rigid metal heating ducts. Some of the insulation's been knocked off in several places of several ducts, so that's going to decrease the efficiency of the heating system. So it would improve it if someone re-insulated the ducts down there. It only needs to be done in a few places, but again, it would be helpful. And then we're back out front. If you have any questions, feel free to call me. Thank you.